Yehezqel, Ezekiel chapter 26. And it came to be in the 11th year, on the 1st of the month, the word of Yahuah came to me, saying, Son of man, because Tsor has spoken against Jerusalem, aha! She, the gateway of the peoples, has been broken. She has been turned over to me. Let me be filled. She has been ruined. Therefore, thus said the Adon Yahuah, See, I am against you, O Tsor, and shall cause many nations to come up against you, as the sea causes its waves to come up. And they shall destroy the walls of Tsor, and they shall break down her towers. And I shall scrape her dust from her, and shall make her like a shining rock. She shall be a place for spreading nets in the midst of the sea, for I have spoken, declares the Adon Yahuah. And she shall become plunder for the nations, while her daughter villages which are in the fields are slain by the sword. And they shall know that I am Yahuah. For thus said the Adon Yahuah, See, I am bringing against Tsor from the north Nebuchadrezzar, sovereign of Babel, a sovereign of sovereigns, with horses and with chariots and with horsemen, even an assembly and many people. With the sword he shall slay your daughter villages in the fields, and he shall heap up a siege mound against you, and shall build a wall against you, and shall raise a large shield against you, and lay the blow of his battering rams against your walls, and break down your towers with his weapons. From his many horses their dust shall cover you. From the noise of the horsemen and wheels and chariots your wall shall shake as he enters your gates, as men enter a city that is breached. With the hooves of his horses he tramples all your streets. He slays your people by the sword, and the columns of your strength shall fall to the ground. And they shall plunder your riches, and they shall loot your merchandise, and they shall break down your walls and destroy your pleasant houses, and they shall put your stones and your timber and your dust in the midst of the water. And I shall cause the sound of your songs to cease, and let the sound of your lyres be heard no more. And I shall make you like a shining rock, and let you be a place for spreading nets, never to be rebuilt, for I, Yahuah, have spoken, declares the Adon Yahuah. Thus said the Adon Yahuah to Tsor, Would the coastlands not shake at the sound of your fall, when the wounded cry, when slaughter is made in your midst? And all the princes of the sea shall come down from their thrones, and they shall lay aside their robes, and take off their embroidered garments, and put on trembling, and sit on the ground, and they shall tremble continuously, and they shall be astonished at you, and they shall take up a lamentation for you, and say to you, How you have perished, O one inhabited by seafaring men, the city well praised, who was strong at sea, she and her inhabitants, who put their fear on all her inhabitants. Now the coastlands tremble on the day of your fall, and the coastlands by the sea shall shudder at your going out. For thus said the Adon Yahuah, When I make you a ruined city, like cities no longer inhabited, when I bring the deep upon you and great waters cover you, then I shall bring you down with those who go down into the pit, to the people of old. And I shall make you dwell in the lowest part of the earth, in wastes of old, with those who go down to the pit, so that you do not return. But I shall establish splendor in the land of the living. I make you a whore and let you be no more, and you are sought for, but never found again, declares the Adon Yahuah. Yehezqel, Ezekiel chapter 27. The word of Yahuah came again to me, saying, Now, son of man, take up a lamentation for Tsor, and you shall say to Tsor, You who dwell at the entrance to the sea, merchant of the peoples on many coastlands, thus said the Adon Yahuah, O Tsor, you yourself have said, I am perfect in loveliness. Your borders are in the heart of the seas. Your builders have perfected your loveliness. They have made all your timbers of fir trees from Sinir. They took a cedar from Lebanon to make a mast for you. From the oaks of Bashan they made your oars. They made your deck with ivory from the coasts of Kittim. Of fine embroidered linen from Mitzrayim was your sail to serve you as banner. Of blue and purple from the coasts of Elisha was your covering. The inhabitants of Zidon and Arwad were your seamen. Your wise men, O Tsor, were in you. They were your sailors. The elders of Gival and its wise men were in you, repairing your seams. All the ships of the sea and their seamen were in you to trade your merchandise. Those from Paras, Lud, and Put were in your army as men of battle. Shield and helmet they hung up within you. They gave splendor to you. The sons of Arwad and your army were on your walls all around, and the Gemadites were in your towers. They hung their shields on your walls all around. They perfected your loveliness. Tarshish was your merchant because of your great wealth. They gave you silver, iron, tin, and lead for your merchandise. Yawan, Tubal, and Meshech were your traders. They exchanged slaves and objects of bronze for your merchandise. Those from the house of Togarmah exchanged horses and horsemen and mules for your merchandise. The men of Dedan traded with you. Many isles were your market. They brought you ivory tusks and ebony as payment. Aram was your merchant because of the multitude of your works. They gave you emeralds, purple, and embroidery, and fine linen, and corals, and rubies for your wares. Yehuda and the land of Yisrael were your traders. For your merchandise they exchanged wheat of Meneth, and early figs, and honey, and oil, and balm. Damasek was your merchant because of the multitude of your works, because of your great wealth of goods, with the wine of Chilbon, and with white wool. Wedan and Yawan from Uzal paid for your wares. They exchanged wrought iron, cassia, and cane for your merchandise. Dedan traded with you in saddlecloths for riding. Arabia and all princes of Kedar were merchants for you. In lambs and rams and goats they were your merchants. The traders of Shiva and Ramah were your traders. They paid for your wares with the choicest spices and all kinds of precious stones and gold. Haran and Kineh and Eden, traders of Shiva, Asher, and Kilmad, traded with you. They traded with you in perfect items, in purple clothes, in embroidered garments, in chests of multicolored clothes, in strong twined cords among your merchandise. The ships of Tarshish were the travelers of your merchandise, and you were filled and richly laden in the heart of the seas. Your seamen brought you into many waters, but the east wind broke you in the heart of the seas. Your wealth and your wares, your merchandise, your mariners and your sailors, your repairers of seams and your dealers in merchandise, and all your fighting men who are in you, and the entire company which is in your midst, shall go down into the heart of the seas on the day of your fall, the coasts shaking at the sound of the cry of your sailors. And all the oarsmen, the mariners, all the sailors of the sea shall come down from their ships. They shall stand on the shore. They shall raise their voice and cry bitterly over you and cast dust on their heads, rolling themselves in ashes. And they shall shave themselves bald because of you, and shall gird themselves with sackcloth. And they shall weep for you with bitterness of heart and bitter wailing. And in their wailing for you they shall take up a lamentation, and they shall lament for you. Who is cut off in the midst of the sea like Tsor? When your wares went out by sea, you have filled many peoples. With your great wealth and your merchandise, you have made the sovereigns of the earth rich. In the time you are broken by the seas, in the depths of the waters, your merchandise and all your company shall fall in your midst. All the inhabitants of the isles shall be astonished at you, and their sovereigns shall be greatly afraid. Their faces shall be troubled. The merchants among the peoples shall whistle at you. You shall become a whore and be no more forever. Yehezqel, Ezekiel chapter 28. And the word of Yahuah came to me, saying, Son of man, say to the prince of Tsor, Thus said the Adon Yahuah, because your heart is lifted up, and you say, I am El, I sit in the seat of Elohim in the heart of the seas. Whereas you are a man and not El, though you make your heart as the heart of Elohim. Look, Are you wiser than Daniel? Has no secret been hidden from you? By your wisdom and your understanding you have made riches for yourself and gathered gold and silver into your treasuries. By your great wisdom, by your trade, you have increased your riches, and your heart is lifted up because of your riches. Therefore, thus said the Adon Yahuah, because you have made your heart as the heart of Elohim. Therefore, see, I am bringing against you strangers, the ruthless ones of the nations, and they shall draw their swords against the loveliness of your wisdom, and they shall profane your splendor. Down into the pit they shall bring you, and you shall die the death of the slain in the heart of the seas. Would you still say before him who slays you, I am Elohim? Whereas you are man and not El, in the hand of him who slays you? The death of the uncircumcised you shall die by the hand of foreigners, for I have spoken, declares the Adon Yahuah. And the word of Yahuah came to me, saying, Son of man, take up a lamentation for the sovereign of Tsor, and you shall say to him, Thus said the Adon Yahuah, you were sealing up a pattern complete in wisdom and perfect in loveliness. You were in Eden, the garden of Elohim. Every precious stone was your covering. The ruby, topaz, and diamond, beryl, shoham, and jasper, sapphire, turquoise, and emerald, and gold. The workmanship of your collets and mountings was prepared for you on the day you were created. You were the anointed keruv that covered, and I placed you. You were on the Kodesh mountain of Elohim. You walked up and down in the midst of stones of fire. You were perfect in your ways from the day you were created until unrighteousness was found in you. By the greatness of your trade you became filled with violence within, and you sinned. So I thrust you from the mountain of Elohim, and I destroyed you, O covering keruv, from the midst of the stones of fire. Your heart was lifted up because of your loveliness. You corrupted your wisdom for the sake of your splendor. I threw you to the earth. I laid you before sovereigns to look at you. You profaned your mikdashim by your many wickednesses, by the unrighteousness of your trading. Therefore I brought forth fire from your midst. It has devoured you, and I turned you to ashes upon the earth before the eyes of all who see you. All who knew you among the peoples were astonished at you. Waste you shall be, and cease to be forever. And the word of Yahuah came to me, saying, Son of man, turn your face towards Adon and Navah against her, and you shall say, Thus said the Adon Yahuah, See, I am against you, O Zidon, and I shall be esteemed in your midst, and they shall know that I am Yahuah, when I execute judgments in her, and I shall be kadosh in her. And I shall send pestilence upon her, and blood in her streets, and the slain shall fall in her midst by the sword against her from all sides, and they shall know that I am Yahuah. And they shall no longer be a pricking briar or a paining thorn for the house of Yisrael from among all who are around them, who despise them, and they shall know that I am the Adon Yahuah. Thus said the Adon Yahuah, when I have gathered the house of Yisrael from the peoples among whom they are scattered, I shall be kadosh in them before the eyes of all the Gentiles, and they shall dwell in their own land which I gave to my servant Yaakov. And they shall dwell safely, and build houses, and plant vineyards, and dwell safely, when I execute judgments on all those around them who despise them. And they shall know that I am Yahuah, their Elohim.